Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be. A big welcome to everyone. My name is Laura and I am delighted that you are joining us for today's ESPC community webinar. Today I am joined by Sasha, who will talk to you guys about getting started using Microsoft 365 governance and compliance products, tools, and features. We love hearing what you guys have to say, so remember to join in on the conversation about today's webinar and more on X. Our handle is at ESPC_community and our hashtag is hashtag ESPC24. Tweet us, at us, and tell us what you learned. Don't forget to check out our Learning Hub, which is updated daily with the latest blogs, ebooks, webinars, and how-to videos. You can access and view the Learning Hub by visiting our website, sharepointeurope.com, and clicking the Content tab at the top. Don't let your learning stop here. Continue to keep up and stay ahead by joining us for our next webinar, which is Data Integration using Data Factory in Microsoft Fabric with Catherine Wilmanson. This webinar is part of the brand new Microsoft Fabric Week, which takes place next Monday, the 19th February, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. CET. For more information on this webinar and on Microsoft Fabric Week, please check out sharepointeurope.com/Microsoft Fabric Week. The moment we have all been waiting for is finally here. You can now view the European Power Platform Conference 2024 programme. Yesterday, we launched the European Power Platform Conference programme for 2024, so get ready for an immersive experience, hot topics and trends, world-class speakers, interactive panels, engaging tutorials, networking extravaganza, and so much more. You can view the fantastic lineup of tutorials, sessions, and networking by visiting sharepointeurope.com/conference schedule 2024 EPPC, and the link is there at the bottom of the slide. So at ESPC, we decided that we wanted to spread a little love this Valentine's. So that is why we are offering you this limited edition one-time offer, a deal we know you'll fall in love with. Why not infuse a little love into your workday by securing a whopping 30% off your ESPC 24 ticket. 2024 is the year to rekindle the flames of your Microsoft 365 passions and inspiration. Discover innovative solutions and time-saving techniques. Meet with peers to share and receive ideas. Hear the latest news from Microsoft Corporate. And, of course, gain genius insight from our knowledgeable speakers. And again, you can visit sharepointeurope.com/pricing to snatch up this offer. Why sponsor at ESPC? Well, ESPC is headlined by world experts in Microsoft 365 and Azure, and it is attended by over 2,000 attendees. ESPC is the largest Microsoft 365 and Azure conference in Europe. It allows you to engage with leading business decision makers and key influencers, and of course to connect with prospective customers and partners from right across the community. Gain conference reach, get connected with the people that you need to get connected with, generate some leads, and promote your brand at ESPC. So if you are interested in sponsoring at ESPC in Stockholm this December, you can visit sharepointeurope.com/why sponsor at ESPC24, or you can contact John at sharepointeurope.com. So after the webinar, we will have a questions and answers session. Type any question you might have into the questions window. Questions will be selected and answered at the end of the presentation. And of course, as always, this webinar will be recorded and added to the Resource Centre, where you will be notified by email when it is available. And now I'm going to pass you over to our webinar presenter today, Sasha. Hello, Sasha.
Hello. Welcome everyone. I'm glad that you are here at these numbers. Welcome everyone. Today's session is about getting started with Microsoft 365 governance and compliance. So My name is Sasha, and I'm a Microsoft MVP for security and Azure. I'm also Microsoft Regional Director and also Microsoft trainer, MCT Regional Lead as well, and have been working with security and with computers, with Windows since late 80s. My first version was Windows 3.0, 3.5, and onwards. I worked with every other versions as well. Here's my Twitter or X handle, so you can get in touch, or you can just Google and find me and get in contact if you need so. Also, have a couple of companies that we do a little bit of engineering and architecture. So feel free to get in touch. But anyway, today we are talking about Microsoft 365 governance and compliance. And in fact, it is getting started because governance and compliance is a large field. It's a very huge area. And the point is, the purpose of the presentation is to get it to get you started with governance and compliance. There are a lot of tools, and contrary to belief, you don't have to be so deep, so deeply engaged, or have so deep knowledge in these things to get started. So a lot of things that are that Microsoft 365 has in governance and compliance area need to some of the things are going to be deployed or set up very quickly, and some of the things that you have there, some features and capabilities, will take a little bit more time to do. But you don't have to be an expert to get started. So the soonest the soonest you get started, the better it is, because your security, governance, compliance posture will be better. As you go through, you will get acquainted with different panels, tools, features, blades, and then you can always enhance or enlarge or deepen the coverage or usage of different features by adding some licenses or expanding existing capabilities and so on. But to get started, doesn't have to be you don't have to postpone that moment anymore. So why Microsoft 365 compliance and governance? Why is such a big deal? Why it's so important? Why we should take care of what Microsoft 365 has there? Because mostly Microsoft 365 is about communication, is about communicating, is about data. And inside a part of the M365, as you know, is our communication, are their communication tools like Teams, Outlook, and OneDrive, etc. So the biggest challenges are there are a lot today. Evolving regulations. There are more and more regulations coming up, and if you work not only with one customer, if you have multiple customers for multiple countries, then you might be under or you have to adhere to some, not just one, but dozens of different or hundreds of different regulatory compliance regulations. Then the problem is how to secure the data. You can't secure what you don't know where it is, what you don't have. You can't classify if you don't know where the data is, what kind of data you have. You simply can't do that, and that's biggest growing problem. The preventing data leaks is also a problem. There are different researches and approaches. According to some researchers, on an average, 75% or 70%, like 3/4 of breaches are coming from inside. Because why? Because the insiders, or the people who are currently at the moment in the company, have access to the data, and it's simply too easy for them to get the data, because it's well, if nothing else, it's more easier than to get the data from the outsiders or from the outside. There's big influx of data. The data is growing exponentially. It's rapidly growing. So classifying the data is a problem. Managing the data lifecycle also. This is something that regulations are doing, or actually imposing us to do. So we are under we have our regulatory compliance regulations, laws on top of our head, and keeping track of these, it's growing problem, and it's becoming more and more difficult. Hopefully, and fortunately, we have these quite a few big tools, very good capabilities in M365 in compliance and governance area that can help us to deal with these things. These are just some of the statistics to give you a better picture of where this problem is going. And connected to the previous slide, 55% of organizations, like half of them, saying that they lack visibility. That's why we have some tools that expand that are here to help us figure out where our data is throughout the entire organizational landscape, not just in M365, but in Azure as well. For example, Microsoft Azure Purview accounts that are there expand into the AWS S3 buckets and SAP Sphere and so on. So that's where it is going. So we need to know where our data is in order to know what kind of data we do have, and after we know what kind of data we have, then we can protect it. Otherwise, we can't do that. Then there is a huge amount of work connected to that data. So if we don't have some kind of automation, some manual data management tasks is concern for also 50% of the companies today. The amount of data is expected to double, more than double every 2 years. We will say a little bit about that as well. And then we have these old numbers. Well, anything is old in the cloud. If we are talking today, anything that happened yesterday is old. 217 daily updates from over 10,000 regulatory bodies worldwide, and this the number is growing, so the number grows every day. And then not everyone in-house has to be an expert on that, because we certainly can keep track of, well, we can try, but we are in there's a problem that something might be missed there. So what else? M365 has intelligent compliance and risk management solution. We know that. We have different areas. We have information protection and governance inside the risk management, which is a huge deal. We have tools to discover the data, where the data is, and then respond to the threats that happen to the data. And then we have compliance management there as well. So information protection is here. There's a huge opportunity for Microsoft here, and with these tools. Information protection, it's not new. This has been here since Windows Server 2000, 2003, but before Azure, before we could connect seamlessly from our homes to the Azure Active Directory or to the Entra ID, or before that to the Active Directory services. It's been hard, but now we can do that with just a few clicks, or actually one click, or even no clicks at all, because everything is working automatically. So information protection and governance. The amount of data we said is about to more than double every 2 years. In fact, it's more critical than ever that organizations actually have simple and integrated tools to understand what the risk this exponential increase poses. This is similar to Moore's law. In 65, Gordon Moore, one of the co-founders of Intel, observed that a number of transistors to microchip was doubling every year, every 12 months. And this is something that has been later revised to every 2 years. And then Moore knew that, in fact, that process could not go on forever. And each doubling is more and more difficult and more expensive. And in September 22, Jensen Huang, which is the boss of NVIDIA, chip maker, became the latest observer to declare that Moore's law was dead. But that, in fact, it's not dead. It's days later, again, Intel's chief, Pat Gelsinger, actually reported that Moore's maxim was in fact alive and well, because the data is we still have a application of Moore's law here as well. It's really a problem. It's not a problem today, tomorrow, or next week. What about in 2 weeks, or in a month, or in 6 months, if something goes under the radar? If you are if your company is being sued, or if you're being audited and then you miss something, if the data has leaked, there are situations where everything works fine in 5 years, but what after the 5 years and 2 days something goes wrong, and if you haven't tightened up the belt, or strengthened the governance and compliance, and if you haven't followed all along, then it all it needs is just one failure, and then the stocks goes down, the company loses value, the company loses contracts, and also the customers, and so on. And then where the problems arise. Information protection and governance, we'll see that they might have also a fresh tenant open here, waiting for to show up. Information protection and governance, there's a process, there are tools where we need to that are here to find the data that we have. Once we can't protect what we don't know where it is, or what kind of data we have. So first we have to find where the data is, then we need to protect the data, actually classify it, and then label it or tag it. Once we do that, then we can also do something else with that data, prevent the loss, and actually govern the data, so we can track it, we can audit it, we can search for it, we can use we can set up the policies that will govern how this data will be contained, or for how long it will that data will remain in the company, and so on. We have Microsoft Purview Information Protection, or actually in short, Microsoft Information Protection, which uses labels, of course, and then it doesn't just extend to the files and to the emails, but also extends also to the other services like Power BI, Edge, Windows devices as well. And there's an intelligent way to do that as well. We can also increase accuracy in classification via machine learning based trainable classifiers as well. So that's for data people. And there's a single admin console that can help us with that. And that IP is, of course, platform is extend to others, non-apps and services, for example. Others support these information protection labels and features too. For example, there's Autodesk AutoCAD, and there's a Foxit PDF reader, or whatever it is. There are a lot of them. Then there's DLP, which is also very effective and crucial. So if you haven't done so, set the policy. There's a way how we can go and set up the DLP policies very quickly. There are a few things that we can do out of the box immediately. We don't have to have these policies in very detail specified immediately, but just get started. Specify, for example, some domains that people shouldn't be communicating with, like the direct first competitor, for example. This should be the first thing that we should do, and then we can do the DLP policies in more detailed way. What else? We have the policies that can automatically block messages that contain sensitive information, and that sensitive information can be fine-tuned. What is in fact sensitive information? So anything that we customers describe as information that we should protect, and that we should follow, protect, and in a certain way, in a certain extent, limit the exposure, or limit the ways, or how this data can leave or should leave the company organizational boundaries. And actually, in fact, if it leaves, who is allowed to exfiltrate data, who is allowed to get that data outside the company. And that's why we need to have to know where the data is and what kind of data we have, because not every data is the same. Not every data will have the same protection. There's, for example, if it's a memo or a company data that or company email that says welcome John or Mary to the company, this is internal, for example. Yes, maybe it's classified, it's labeled as internal, but it's in no way it can have the same, or actually can, but it shouldn't have the same security or level as the contract, or for example privately identifiable information, or payrolls, or employees data, and so on. So that's why we need to know where the data is and what kind of data we have, and then we can apply and adjust the policies accordingly. And not this is we do have some templates, we do have some out of the box labels and templates and everything, but it's impossible to map all of these templates and out of the box solutions, not just in DLP, but in labels, in everything, to every company, single company world. So we have to, again, why I'm telling this and repeating this, because the companies usually make this error, and then the error of not knowing what the data is and what kind of data they have, and then they can't protect effectively the data. And after that, we can of course protect the data after we know where the data is. After we protect the data, after we control data by policy, then also we have data records management or governance. If you are subjected to some regulatory compliance and laws, then of course, well, this differs between the industries, but then you are obliged, or you must also have records management policies. That means that the duration or the life of the data in the company should be regulated or have to be regulated as well. And then there are automated policy, automated collaboration and data ingestion chats and policies as well that also regulate that. And we can also do the pattern recognition again with trainable classifiers as well. Records management also very important one. Classification and governance of the data, we can do it intelligently. There are a couple of hundreds of out-of-the-box sensitive information types as well, but I suggest that if you pick one because you want to protect them immediately, and I suggest that you do, it's better to limit the I would say dissemination of data, or the possibility to exfiltrate the data a little bit more, and then just fine tune these information, then to lose the information and then be sorry that this happened in the first place. So a little bit more in restrictive policies should be set up at the beginning. Then once the policies are in the effect, once you track how the policies are doing, what are the triggers, what are the metrics as you follow the policies, then you should also fine-tune these policies, create another one or fine-tune the existing one, and so on. So there are trainable classifiers. That is the process that takes a little bit more longer to implement for the resumes, contracts, or for the forms that the trainable classifiers will, for example, discover or recognize. But if nothing else, we have out of the box couple of hundreds that can be applied to our solution. And before that, we should know what kind of data we have. And certainly for a majority of companies, this is not so hard. And I suggest that you at least you know that you have some top secret or highly sensitive, or from 1 to 10 you have 10 the type of data that should be protected, and this is the first step that you should do. Then you can also go and protect the data that has a lower level of protection. First, these are the first policy that you should create and protect. Why? Because first of all, it's a top secret data that has a secrecy or protection need from 1 to 10. It has a 10 or 11. And the second thing is because these kind of documents or type of data is most easy to recognize. And from the top of my head, contracts or PI of the or payrolls or documents that the financial or HR departments are dealing with. So these are the first one, and then we can protect others as well, like engineering blueprints or whatever you are doing, or some others. But one big one big problem with the company is that the companies implement just 1, 2, or 3 of these tools or features and products and think, okay, now we are pretty secure. No, you're not, because you need to implement as much as you can, and usually the leakage or the data exfiltration comes in the area that hasn't been protected or regulated, that usually companies are missing, that haven't been purchased the license or haven't been used, like communication barriers or insider risk or labeling protection, whatever these are. So think strongly where the data linkage can occur, because usually, and Murphy's laws always kick in, if something's going to happen, is going to happen the least when you least expect it, and then it's game over. So this is similar as with attacks and hackers and the attackers. We defenders need to be right million times out of million times. If it's a zillion or zillion times, we need to be right 100% of the time, while attackers need to be right just one time in front of us out of the zillion times, and then it's game over. It's harder for us, but fortunately we have these tools, and you can always ask yourselves, or the data or the organization, what is more costly, one license or a couple of licenses, or the price of stocks, and and so on. So that's the problem.
Sasha, we can't seem to hear you. Sorry, Sasha, I think your mic might be off. Sasha, Okay, folks, Sasha is just trying to get his mic and audio back up and running. So if you just bear with us for a couple of minutes. Apologies, guys, we are still working to get this issue resolved. So if you just want to bear with us for another minute or two, and we should be back up and running. Okay, folks, so Sasha is just going to hop off for a moment and get restarted so that his mic and audio works again. So he's just going to hop off now for a minute and he'll be back on again. So for any of you that might have missed the first couple of minutes of the webinar, what I'll do is I'll just run through some of the announcements that we have. So we launched the European Power Platform Conference
What about now?
2024.
There
Oh,
should
and
be
Sasha
audio
is
now, right?
back. Brilliant, perfect.
And
We
I've
can hear
checked
you.
2 mics. I've checked 2 mics. That should be okay.
Yeah, that sounds good. Brilliant stuff.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear
That
you
should
loud
be
and
okay as
clear.
well. Anyone can confirm that I'm still audible?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear me?
While there should be everything. Okay, perfect. So, sorry about that. Something happened to the mics. I had 2 mics and both were green, in fact. So I don't know what happened. This technology amazes me every day. Okay. Uh, so sorry about that. So what I did, let me tell you in 10 seconds what I did. Do you know how IT people repair cars? We go out, turn off the engine, go out of the car, go back into the car, turn on the engine again. So that's why I did. That's what I did. Just turned off the presentation, then went back in. So that's how we do that. Repairing things is very easy now when you go to clouds. You just log on or log off or press F5 or refresh. Anyway, broad range of risk violations from insiders. We still have some few things to go through, and then I'll have a demo. And So data spillage, IP theft, sensitive data leaks. There's a lot of threats, in there from insiders, conflict of interest, policy violations, disgruntled employees, confidentiality, voluntarily or involuntarily sharing the data. So the data that's been shared just by accident or on purpose. So the problems are a lot of problems. These are just some of the problems that we have, and of course, not every problem can be addressed here by the technology. Uh, People usually say, "Oh, yes, but no one how the technology will how M365 will prevent me to take a picture of the document and the labeling is not working or the information protection is not good." Yes, but this is, of course, Microsoft 365 can't protect you from that. So that's why you have cameras behind your back in banks, for example, to deal with that kind of thing. So the technology is not the panacea silver bullet, actually, the information protection. So that's the same thing as you would say, okay, why, how the airbags will protect me from jumping off the plane. So that's the different things. And inside Risk Manager, actually, is the in fact the tool to identify and take action on critical inside threats. There are a couple of them, and we have a couple of templates available, but this is not this is not all. We have communication compliance. All of the tools that we have are not here to solve 100% of our problems. Communication compliance is very simple. So uh, uh, we have to define different areas that shouldn't be or that should communicate, that will be allowed or not, and not be allowed to communicate, and that's all. And that means via the tools that Microsoft 365 controls. So that doesn't solve the problem where the co-workers that work in different departments will the situation where they will pick up just the phone and then communicate with themselves. but they are the communication compliance and inside the risk management, and all the tools, in fact, are here to help us to reduce the possibilities. So out of the hundreds of possibilities that are available there for voluntarily or involuntarily sharing the data, or exfiltrating the data, or sending the data out, then by increasing the usage of different tools that are available to us, we are decreasing the possibility for bad things to happen. And that means from 100 things that could go wrong, where the data could be exfiltrated or lost, then we are reducing this to 20 or to 10 or to 5, or even if it's well less than 100, then it's good. um, it's never going to be a zero, but that's why we need to educate people. Then we have to implement and utilize all the tools, the features, the products that we have in there. The more, the better. And that's the, in fact, how we should think when we use these tools. What else do we have? We do have discovery and response. A few things to go through. Discovering and managing the data is challenging. There's a lot of data there. One particular challenge is the ability to discover data efficiently and cost effectively. So not only the data is growing exponentially, which increases the risk and complexity and cost of finding the relevant data, the type of data is also evolving, and that's hard. So more users are now leveraging chat-based workspaces to communicate, collaborate, different types of data, and this is where we have here a lot of the things that Microsoft has implemented. Discovery of the data efficiency is top line for organizations. And then that's why we have e-discovery in Microsoft 365. So in place, e-discovery is here, logging, auditing from one place, lower cost per custodian average, reduced collection activities. So these are all the benefits that we have in M365, and advanced discovery is something that we have there as well. So custodian management and communication capabilities, like setting up the case data, deep crawling and indexing from a lot of Microsoft 365 sources, and also intelligent connection with machine learning as well. There is, of course, always auditing capabilities, and auditing is also very crucial to investigate things that when the things go wrong, but also before that for troubleshooting as well. We can also preserve audit logs granularly, for example, by individual and then up for a year, or even more today. We'll see that this extension or preservation will be possible to include even more years and more types of data. And also different types of audits are available, like a normal, basic or normal audit, and advanced audit as well. And then we have a compliance management tool as well, and that is where management data of compliance also is risky and challenging. And there are different tools, for example, like compliance score. This is just one example where where this compliance score it should be the starting point for our compliance, and that's why the dashboard actually provides the data from continuous assessment and the top recommended actions. And these points here are not just for gamifications. These points are actually to prioritize the Microsoft XYZ score is here to help us with just these things. Get a bigger picture, get one pane of view, one view, one window through the security compliance state, or whatever state is score, whatever that score shows. And it is about prioritization. So what is the biggest bang for the buck, or where are the biggest gains? So that's what these points actually mean. It's not just for filling up empty space with dashboards and graphs. It's not just a gamification tool. It's actually a prioritization. So out of the 100, out of the 10, even out of the 5, or even out of the 2 things that have happened there, how do you decide what's the thing that you're gonna address the first? And so that's what is this all about. And let's just go through the demo, and we have one very nice slide, just one for the end. So what do we have? Let's quickly go and take a look at the Contoso electronics, for example. So this is the compliance manager. So first of all, of course, compliance.microsoft.com. That's the thing that is where we URL where we will go. There's the compliance score. So all of these key improvement actions with the impact, where the biggest bang, where the biggest bang for the buck is, the points are here to give us the prioritization flow. So what are the best things to address? Probably you're not gonna clear this list at all, but the point is that you go through each and every improvement action. So this is the key improvement action. So these are improvement actions, actually, all of them. And of course, there are some more important ones and some less important ones. You should address all of them, actually read through all of them, and address all the ones that are most relevant to you, that are that you're gonna do with the ones that are in fact most important to you. That would be the time to the time to resolve, or based on personnel, based on products, based on whatever the priority is. And here are some solutions that these compliance assessments actually are working with, or actually working at. So again, before that, we have also some things that we need to define, and that is the different permissions and different scopes. And because, of course, the person who is doing the auditing shouldn't be the one that is the global admin. The separation of duties have to be configured correctly. So, and there are rules for Microsoft Purview solutions. There should contain the biggest possible separation of roles in granularity. So that is, of course, dependent also on different regulatory compliance standards and laws, but also to preserve security and to be compliant as well. Again, we do have also different policies that we should address in the first place before we actually move there, before we do anything else. So these are all policies in one place, like the DLP retention and other policies here. Before going inside of each and every product, then we have, for example, settings for device onboarding, for compliance manager, for information protection scanner, the ones that will give us the possibility to get the broaden the scope, broaden the visibility of the data. And that would be the first of all, information protection scanner that will scan our files on-prem or elsewhere. It doesn't have to be on-prem. We can use that the cloud as well. In certain cases, this is also case, and for the compliance manager as well. For example, the user access is also very important, that we select specific users who will be granted access to grant assessments or regulate actually to. We spoke about the cyber risk management. Let's quickly take a look at the policies. As you define the policies, then these policies will govern, will create alerts. And just to take a quick look at the policies are here. There are a couple of them that are out of the box, like data theft by departing users. data leaks, data lists by risk users, and others like priority users. Prioritization of users are, for example, CEOs or admins or some more sensitive users. And then there are 4 now that are not in preview. There are some more that are in preview, right? Because well, just be careful what you use in the what kind of features used in preview features. You know what preview means. It means that in certain cases there is no SLA, and then not everything that is in preview will gonna be in GA, reach GA status. So we're going to concentrate on these 4. So there are some prerequisites, for example, like physical badging or devices that are connected, or HR connectors or DLP policies. And once we have, for example, the DLP policies configured, actually, or device onboarded, then we can proceed with name and description. Let's say, I don't know, maybe it's a test, and then define specific users and groups. You can prioritize the content as well. This is something that is also important. If you have some content that is more important to you, then you will do that, and then you can this content that you will prioritize SharePoint sites or sensitivity, different sensitivity labels, or any sensitive info types, different extensions. For example, I know maybe you are prioritizing Excel files because this is where financial data is, and you can also add a trainable classifier as well, and then you can get alerts for all of them, and then you can also choose the triggering event, of course. So, and choose what's appropriate. I would say just go with the defaults if you don't have the time to go in detail. You can fine tune the policy afterwards as well. So, but it doesn't cost you to just get started, because only when you get started, when you set these up, the alerts are going to show up, and that's you don't have to prevent users from doing anything, or if nothing else, you will see how the what users are in fact doing, and whether there are some points of concern. The threshold, I would say, for the first thing, leave built-in thresholds, then you can set these up. Built-in thresholds are very good. These are recommended only if you have a specific reason to do so. Then do that. What else? We do have information barriers where we can set up different segments, and then between these segments we can create a policy that will say the financial is prevented to communicate with HR department, and this is that means Teams collaboration on SharePoint, OneDrive would be restricted based on this policy. That doesn't mean that these people won't be able to talk at all, but if nothing else, some involuntarily or voluntarily sharing the files with these types of departments will be prevented. And then what is also very important, turn on auditing. Usually to new tenants, the auditing is already turned on. But the next biggest thing that you should configure is the DLP policies. And the DLP policies, create a policy, use at least one from the. If you don't have time or personnel, just use the one that is out there. Then you can fine tune the policy afterwards and set it more restrictive. So don't have to spend weeks on that. Usually fine tuning spends a lot, takes a lot of time. But if nothing else, just start protecting your data, because if you don't, something will happen. If saves you from one thing, then it's good. If you don't have it, it won't save you from just one threat at all. So any threat, if you don't have it, please start protecting the data. And yes, just one thing, If you don't know how to start, there's one book. My colleague Omar, who is the MVP in M365, and I are just publishing next month. So also try to look for that book that will help you also for setting up your M365 governance and compliance. The book is about governance and compliance. This is just about getting started. So three things, and then we'll wrap it up. So inside risk management is the first one. DLP policies is the second one, and the communication barriers are the third one. The fourth one, which is also very important, should be information protection. That needs a little bit more time to do, but it's also very important, and it needs to, well, you have to know where the data is. You have to configure your data. You actually have to discover what data you have. Label efficiently, please 5 to 10 labels per department, not more. And these are the four the most important things. And the fifth one, like a bonus one, please use compliance manager. That's the one thing. Before we wrap it and call it a day, just one example. On March 2019, was a large electric car manufacturer, and then former 4 employees left the company for a competitor with more than just branded sweatshirts, of course. And these 4 individuals actually work in the operation group and stole proprietary information and trade secrets that helped the competitor leapfrog the past years and actually work to develop and run its own warehousing, logistics, and so on. So and this kind of things happen a lot. So this happens a lot. This is the known case where this case is known by the Sly Dog Gang because of the 2 confidential documents that were sent. The ringleader that ringleader sends to his personal email address with only the words "you sly dog you" and in the body of email, and that's how these thieves were found, actually discovered, actually, and caught. But once again, just start creating the policies for DLP, inside risk policies immediately. Then create communication barriers. Go to the settings and then set up the communication barriers. Restrict the domains to which users shouldn't be communicating at all, just a couple of them, the nearest competitors, closest competitors, and then look for the compliance portal, address everything that is in there, go through these steps, and then you're good to go. So this shouldn't take more than a week, and afterwards you should be able to restrict this even further. This is just getting started with these 4 things, and there's a lot more than that, of course. This is just getting started. How to, even with these couple of this advice, well, like 3 or plus 2 things that I mentioned, you should be good. Just if nothing else, just for the start. Anyway, there's a lot more. Definitely, there's a lot more. Each of these features actually require at least a month of getting deeper inside of it. But if nothing else, maybe not everything. Everyone has used everything, and this will hopefully scare you a little bit, or actually nudge you in the direction that you will say, okay, let's try this thing and let's try that thing as well. So if that helped, I'm glad that I helped you. If nothing else, please go to the compliance.microsoft.com and use the more features you do, you'll be more and more protected. Stay safe, stay secure, stay compliant, and see you at the next webinar. And thank you for joining.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Sasha, for a great webinar. So there's just one question here, and that question is how to use, oh, I don't think Sasha could actually hear me. So what I might do is I will pass that question on to Sasha, and I will include his response in the follow-up email along with the recording of this webinar. So that is it for today, folks. Thanks to everyone for joining us today. You'll be able to find this webinar recording and more at sharepointeurope.com/resource center. Thanks again for joining us, and I hope that you'll join us again soon. Bye for now.